Welcome to the Faculty Development Program on Fundamentals of Quality Management, powered by Quality Fables. Dear friends, we have with us two distinguished personalities. Our today's speaker, who is a distinguished alumnus of IIT Mumbai, Suresh Lulla ji, who has made an indelible mark through his work in the field of quality. Mr. Lulla pioneered the quality movement in India by setting up Qimpro Consultants in 1987. Often referred to as the quality guru of India, he was mentored by Dr. J.M. Juran, the father of quality, who along with Mahatma Gandhi ji and Sri Ramakrishna Bajaj form the trinity of Mr. Lulla's role models. Lulla ji is a fun-loving person, and he jokes that one thing he has in common with his role models is a bald head. Qimpro has served reputed Indian business houses, MNCs, SMEs, and hospitals. Collectively, these clients have saved about 25,000 crores of rupees as a byproduct of quality improvement, specifically by strategically addressing their cost of poor quality COPQ. Lullaji is a veteran professional with over 50 years of experience as a management consultant, speaker, trainer, author, and a storyteller. We also have with us the head of the Department of Commerce, Mahe, Dr. Sandeep S. Shanai, a civil engineer with post-graduation and PhD in finance. Dr. Shanai heads the Department of Commerce, and he is also the Director Compliance of Mahe. Dr. Shanai was instrumental in making DOC as the most prominent department of Mahe. Now, in the beginning, may I request Dr. Shanai to make his introductory remarks. Over to you, Sandeep sir.
Thank you, Dashrath. Very good morning to all of you. Department of Commerce Mahe believes in offering academic programs which add value to the society. Qimpro has been in the forefront of various consultancy and training related to quality improvements in India and abroad. Qimpro is hosting this webinar along with Department of Commerce as its knowledge partner. Today we have with us Quality Guru Sri Suresh Lulla, founder of Qimpro. He had the privilege of being mentored by father of quality, Professor Juran. And Suresh Lulla has successfully deployed his learnings from this association in building quality culture in India, and these have led to mammoth savings for corporates in terms of reduction in cost attributed to cost of poor quality, popularly known as COPQ. Sri Lulla is behind the conceptualization and implementation of several quality awards such as IMC RBNQA, Qimpro, Caltech Awards, Best Practice competitions, etc. His quality initiatives have not only benefited organizations in manufacturing sector, but also those from services sector, education sector, healthcare sector, and even NGOs. These initiatives have also encouraged and motivated the organizations to innovate and sustain and augment their quality initiatives over year over year. The second resource person we have is Dr. Dashrathraj Shetty, Associate Professor, Manipal Institute of Technology, Mahe. He has been my favorite student. I know him for his inquisitive nature and aspirations to learn more. These qualities have led him to several achievements, and he has been strongly driving quality initiatives in Manipal Institute of Technology and also supporting Mahe in its quality journey. Dashrath has benefited many organizations in their quality journey through his assessments as a quality examiner for IMC RBNQA, and also has been recognized for his performance as an examiner through awards. Today's FDP will help us understand quality management for educational excellence through the inputs from both these resource persons. I welcome them to this session. I welcome the participants of this webinar. I welcome all those who are associated with this session. Have a nice day and enjoy the session. Thank you. Over to Dashrath.
Thank you, Sandeep sir, for those kind words and insightful ones. Today, excellence in education is a topic of global interest. Universities compete for the highest quality of research and top students. They are ranked against each other in global university rankings. Striving for excellence is trying to do the best. Excellence journey should make all the stakeholders give their best. Humans have always told stories and they are a vital part of our daily communication. But stories have meaning beyond entertainment value. Storytelling is a vital business skill, and when implemented effectively, it can boost a business in several ways, such as improvising customer loyalty, creating a strong marketing strategy, increasing profit, and so on. Today, let us listen to Sri Suresh Lulla ji, the author of 100 Quality Fables, and try to pole vault the same to achieve educational excellence. Today's topic is 3 C's: chairman, carpenter, consultant. This fable emphasizes about the role of the leadership in the quality journey. Now, may I request Lula sir to take over and share his knowledge with us. Over to you, Lula sir.
Greetings to all participants on a Sunday morning. I am very impressed. The kind of numbers that Dr. Shetty has shared with me, I am overwhelmed by your attendance. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sandeep Shenoy, for your kind words and warm welcome. A special thank you to you for the knowledge partnership between Qimpro and the Department of Commerce at the Manipal Academy of Higher Education. I value that very much. I hold Manipal University in high esteem as one of the finest in the country. Thank you, Dr. Dashrathraj, Department of Commerce. Hello.
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Thank you, Dr. Dashrathraj Shetty, for conceptualizing this faculty development program. As already mentioned by Dr. Shenoy, Dr. Shetty is very inquisitive. He gets into a model and he grows it and grows it. We did not start out as a faculty development program. Our discussions were more casual, but he gave it form, and I'd call him the architect of this faculty development program. The unique feature is that they are powered by Quality Fables. To demystify the subject, quality, there are only 2 things I repeat, and Dr. Shetty and Dr. Shenoy must have heard this before in my presentations. I'd like you to tattoo customer on one hand and process on the other. No matter what your quality problem, unless you can answer the questions, who is my customer and what is the process, you will not be focused on a quality problem. With your permission, Dr. Shetty and Dr. Shenoy, I would like to share my first experience with Dr. Juran and the lesson I learned. This goes back to August 1987. Dr. Juran invited me to Paris to be interviewed for the role of international representative in India. He interviewed me. He was a guru. You know, he used few words, but he said a lot. And having having appointed me, he said, "Come along, I'm going to London this weekend, and please attend my training program in London." Now, this was the Cavendish Centre. Those familiar with it will know it's an amphitheater. In this amphitheater, Dr. Juran was in the pit, and I was given the worst seat possible because it was a full house and I was a late registration. So I was sitting in the last row, extreme right. Dr. Juran challenged me with a situation. This 84-year-old gentleman asked me, "Please give me corrective feedback session by session." Wow. I was petrified. So at the end of the first session, I hesitated and asked him, "Sir, there was this person sitting in section C in row 14 who stood up to ask you what is a chronic problem. But he didn't make it as precise. He went on and on and on into a speech. And you listened to him. Couldn't you have interrupted and given him the answer? You know that what is a chronic problem." He said, very simply, "That gentleman is my customer. I owe him the dignity of listening to him." That was my first lesson from Dr. Juran. Now, let's move on to the quality fable that follows, but I'd like to give a little background. Quality is not just an organizational strategy. It must be a national strategy. What do I mean by this? When Japan came out of the Second World War, it was a shattered economy. Factories were broken, no buying power, but a great desire to survive and succeed. So the Emperor of Japan invited industry leaders to benchmark other nations with similar characteristics. They selected Great Britain, also an island economy with limited natural resources, which purchased from the colonies, added value, and sold back to the colonies. The emperor and the leaders felt they had competitive advantage in terms of low labor cost. So they tried to compete globally with disappointing results. Made in Japan was the standard for bad quality. How many of you can recall the 1950s, the Raj Kapoor song, Mera Juta Hai Japani, and he shows you a torn shoe. That said it all. Having got disappointing results, the emperor invited Dr. Juran to come and educate industry on quality management. Customers wanted quality first and a low price later. First, I want quality. And Dr. Juran lectured on quality improvement, which is nothing more than uh, uh, problem solving of chronic problems in processes. He started with top management and worked his way down. And by the 70s, was competing with, in the field of entertainment electronics, with brand names like Sony, Panasonic, in America. And he could sell, and they could sell their products at a price lower than the cost to produce in America, in spite of higher logistics costs. This was a miracle. And Made in Japan became known for copycats. Made in Japan realized that to succeed, they had to break the backbone of the US economy. And that backbone was the auto industry. OPEC helped. OPEC helped by raising the price of oil, and customers wanted fuel-efficient cars, which the Japanese provided. And the rest is history. Today, Made in Japan. Excuse me, let's go back to the earlier. The one before. Yeah. Made in Japan became the standard for good quality. Now, the only formula that was there was quality improvement. Quality improvement is nothing but solving chronic problems. My appeal to the faculty attending today is, can we collectively make education in India be the gold standard internationally? Can we make education in India the gold standard internationally? Dr. Shenoy, I hope you're hearing this, as well as Dr. Shetty. So now we come to the fable, 3 C's. This is also about an Indian leader who was so passionate about quality. He was an engineer, and his biggest strength was design. So this is the fable of a very rare person 33 years ago. Next. It was 1987. And this chairman of this company, of a tractor company, was absolutely anguished. He had designed a tractor, an indigenous tractor that he believed in, that could take on the international brands that were prevalent in India in those years. This was pre-liberalization. He believed in his product, and he could sell the product at a lower price than the international products. But he was not making much headway. So around that same time, may I have the next slide? I had also started Qimpro and advertised. And advertised with the face of Dr. Juran and quality in India, with the ambition to make made in India a trusted brand. So he came in and he saw this advertisement and said, I want to meet you. I told him, let's meet at the club. He said, no, I want to come and meet you in your office. I said, my office is under construction. He said, I will come to your office. And he came. And believe it or not, the only company we had were carpenters. And he sat on a box, on a crate, a box, and I sat on another crate. The humility of this person is what I'm trying to bring out. And we spoke. And he explained to me that he wanted to challenge the foreign brands. So I asked him, what have you done? He said, next. Yeah. He said, I have designed my tractor myself. I know every nut and bolt of my tractor. It is the most beautiful piece. It's my child. He was so emotional about it. Next. I've also created the production lines such that they're agile, they're flexible, there's no wastage. We have the lowest cost. So I asked him, where did you learn all this? He said, from Juran's Quality Control Handbook. How did you go about it? His answer was, page by page. And what did you learn most? He said, solving chronic problems. So I said, so what is the problem now? And he said, look, apart from the banking going on, it's my market share. My market share is only 3%. And the leader has 30%. And the other next five, collectively have 60%. I have just 3%. How can I compete? So I asked him, okay, so what do you feel is your failing? He said, I have done the best I can in terms of product features and in freedom from deficiencies. I learned from the handbook that the definition of quality is fitness for use, and fitness for use comes from having the right features, free from deficiencies. So I even offer warranty, which is far longer than my international competitors. 5 years warranty, just to build the confidence. Even so, I'm not able to penetrate the market. I have a service system all over the country. None of them have it. By this time, the carpenters had gone. It was evening, and we were just talking and talking. He was a great listener, and I think our silence was speaking more than words. And it must have been like 10 minutes of total silence between him and me sitting on crates, when the consultant in me woke up. And the consultant in me asked questions. Have you met your customers? Have you met your competitors' customers? That was like a bomb on a graveyard. The assumptions were questioned. So we jointly made a mission to find out, why are farmers not purchasing our tractors? And it took us only 9 interviews to come up with solutions. The main feedback was that your tractors are unfit for social use. Unfit for social use? You see, for weddings, we take our barat on tractors. And these tractors, your tractor can accommodate only 4 family members, whereas the competitors can accommodate 6. And when they stand on the bumpers, your bumper collapses with 4, and their bumper is sturdy enough to carry 6. Your mudguards also, we tried putting children there. They collapsed. Big lesson. Listen to the voice of the customer. So he got back, he got into a quality improvement mode, a problem-solving mode, and went on 5 years later to have 21% of the market. And the leader whom he was working with had shrunk below 10. Now, this is an amazing story of a leader who took on the total responsibility of quality improvement. He started by educating his top and cascading the teachings downwards. I hold him as a benchmark. This gentleman changed my life. Next. So what are the lessons we've learned? Every leader must visit customers to understand what fitness for use. It's not selling to a purchase department. It is understanding the user. Next. Listen to the voice of customer. We know it as a management jargon, but please walk up to the customer proactively, not when complaints, proactively, and try to understand what are their real needs and be the first to offer that or satisfy those needs before competition. The customer is always, almost always right. Next. Customer satisfaction is the ratio of customer perception and customer expectation. My perception was that your tractor collapses. My expectation, you did not know. Customer expectation is the moving target. It is the troublemaker. Therefore, you should proactively meet with your customers regularly. Next. Next. To be able to translate customer needs, expectations into product, service, features, you need to have a design mindset. You need to be a good engineer to be able to take this commercial data into reality. Next. Do not design based on assumptions. Don't make assumptions. Learn from the customer. Listening. That's a good leadership quality. Dr. Juran listened. This vice chairman listened. In education, you're taught to speak, see, but are you taught the art of listening? Think of any leader you admire in the world. There's a 99% probability that the person is a good listener. Thank you, and over to you, Dr. Shetty.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening us. Now, I have a couple of questions from my side, then I'll take it from the audience. Sir, during the presentation, you emphasized the fact that every leader must visit customers to understand fitness for use. How can we apply this to the education domain?
Tough one. I would like to see the education institution similar to a factory. What are you producing? What is your output? A student. A student who is going to fulfill the needs of industry and society. So who's your customer there? Industry and society. Now, we have to have this larger view of definition of customer. If our institution has to succeed, please visit industry. Don't call them to your campus. Visit industry and see how they are using your graduates. Fitness for use. Are they investing in induction programs that go on and on? What is that? That's pretty much of a rework of what has been taught or has not been taught. Why should the induction program be there? Why can't you give or absorb these requirements in your curriculum? So, leaders must travel, go to industry, in India, overseas, wherever. Chat with them. What would you want from our students? Okay. I don't know if I've answered your question, but that's the best I could do at the moment.
Yes. So my next question. So you also emphasize the fact that listening to the voice of customers is essential. Is there any specific message for the people from the education domain as to how they can get valuable feedback from the students and their parents?
That is pretty straightforward. And I'm going to ask you and Dr. Shinoy to go back to your RB and QA and look at the results category number 7 under customer satisfaction. And amongst that, there's one statement which says, do you conduct focus group meetings? focus group meetings is the best way to understand what is important to students and to their parents. And you can have focus groups of about 12 people for 1 hour. Listen to them. While they talk, they piggyback on each other's rides, and you'll be amazed at how much information you're getting. Things you assumed are not acceptable. What they desire, if only I had known, a little correction. It's small things, mega impact. So focus group meetings is a very, very effective technique. You need a good facilitator for the meeting. That is the requirement. And you need to record that meeting, replay it. You'll be amazed at how much you know.
So my next question. So we also understood that most of the time, as mentioned, the customer expectation is a troublemaker. How do we know that what our customers' expectations are in education domain? Most of the times, we think it's all about placement and course delivery. Sir, your opinion?
I'll wear my performance excellence hat here and say that one has to do benchmarking of practices with other educational institutions for the value creation processes. But the support processes, the service processes, the supplier processes, which are generic and account for 70% of your organization, those you can do cross-industry benchmarking. Now, I'll cite an example. In 1995, when the airline industry was liberalized and we got private airlines, one of the most effective ones at that point approached us. The check-in process at an airline, in those days, the only other airline was Indian Airline, was very tedious. This check-in process, they wanted it to be equivalent of going to a Taj Mahal hotel check-in process. We benchmarked, we took practices and brought them. Similarly, the turnaround time of cleaning the aircraft and therefore capacity utilization. The turnaround time was high cleaning an aircraft when it lands and before it takes off. They asked us to benchmark another hotel, which had pilots as their customers, where pilots used a room for only 3 hours maybe. So what is it, how did they have the room clean again for the next one? Every 3 hours they were cleaning. How did they make a system of it? So similarly, I would recommend you consider doing cross-industry benchmarking. The admissions process, procurement process, your canteen process, payroll, etc. These are generic. Okay? That's my answer.
Now we'll take a couple of questions that have been typed in our live window on YouTube. So one, Mr. Hanoob Azad. He is asking the question: how do we apply this principle in a disruptive, innovative ecosystem where many a times customers don't know what their own needs are?
Well, if even customers don't know their own needs, then it's paradise. Whatever you give, they will be surprised with. Innovation requires right brain creative thinking. Everything that I spoke of earlier was very logical: problem solving, the quality improvement, left brain. The kind of tools you use there are very logical, programmable. But I think what this participant is asking, Dr. Azad, I think, is asking, is innovative. Now, here you need your creativity tools. The most underemployed asset in an organization is the creativity resident in the people. I'll take you back to when you were young or when you see your child young. Which part of the brain do they use, left or right? They use the right brain and very creatively communicate and get what they want. But then, unfortunately, the parents send the children to school, where the reward and recognition is for left brain activity. So the right brain becomes dormant. Now, when you reach a situation where things are faster, better, cheaper, different, you want innovative solutions, and you find that innovation is not resident only in the advertising department, etc., but I want innovative solutions on my process, for which I need to use creativity tools. They're all based on brainstorming. But brainstorming is the classic version. You need to move into brain writing, brain imaginary brainstorming, and so on. There are 10 such tools.
One more question from Dr. Amareshwaran Reddy. Is it does quality vary from place to place, institution to institution, and person to person, or the same quality principles are they applicable uniformly everywhere?
By and large, they are applicable everywhere, but you have to customize them depending on your target customers. If you're in a rural area, your customers will have different needs to urban. So much depends on your customer, but the principles for excellence are the same. What changes the approach is, who is my customer? What are their needs? A focus group with them. I will understand what I should emphasize. I can't train people to build a submarine when their requirement is a bicycle. Okay?
Thank you, sir. There's one more question from Chandrasekharan ji. The question is, don't you think quality is related to quality infrastructure as well? But in India, do we have sufficient quality infrastructure?
That's a very loaded question. You need quality infrastructure. But Before you start quality, there are two other things you should do. Since you're talking of a very macro situation, the first is housekeeping. Clean up what you have. Housekeeping sensitizes you to identifying mistakes. Without telling you, you don't know quality. It's education. I would urge you to emphasize housekeeping first. Next, look at safety. Are there any accidents on your campus, on your plant? The top management should address that problem. It's not delegable. Then, by which time you'll get everyone ready to embrace quality practices. But until then, it becomes a very personal issue. What do you mean? I don't do quality? A behavioral issue. Now, to answer your question about infrastructure, we are all interdependent. As in an organization, as in the human body, your circulatory system is dependent on respiratory system, the digestive system, and so on. They are interdependent. This interdependence, our weak link is infrastructure, maintenance practices, reliability, and so on. I think Dr. Shetty is asking me to move to the next question.
Sir, there is one question from Mr. Kunjaman. Do you suggest change in quality strategy in the new normal? The question by Mr. Kunjaman. Do you suggest change in quality strategy in the new normal?
Coming from Mr. Kunjaman, whom I know, I know it's a very difficult question. The new normal. The new normal, yes, quality practices have to change. Or the emphasis has to change. At a macro level, communication is replacing transportation. Communication is replacing transportation. So your main processes have to be communication related. Now, if your communication has to be faster, better, cheaper, different, that would be, you need digitizing, you need IT. These are infrastructural areas. Leadership has to change, has to align with the new normal. The new normal, people working from home. There will be a greater sense of compassion with workers. There will be behavioral issues of workers who are working from home. New normal. Completely new HR policies. Will there be a policy for promotion, performance appraisal? We don't know. Every employee will be a supplier of outputs, sitting from home. Education training in the new normal. Most of it is online. Healthcare, significantly going online. So, to answer your question, in the new normal, leaders have to first get educated. Educated on the change. You're not seeing the customer. And it's online.
There's one
The
question.
people I don't know. I can't see you guys. Okay.
Sir, there is one more question. It's not related to the education domain. Shall I take it?
You're the anchor. You.
Okay, we'll just take this one question. The question is, how can the current fable, what we have discussed now, can be applied in the healthcare domain?
Absolutely. Who's your customer? It's the first question I'll ask you. Who's your customer? It's the family. The patient is there. Patient is the thing. Family is a customer. Let me give you another fable which will. Do I have time?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, here is a child in a rural area who's suffering from major cardiac problems. And the parents are of a very humble background, and they've gone from pillar to post. Finally, they approached the best cardiac surgeon in the country. And he said he will do the surgery, but they will have to come to that metro town. I won't indicate any more clues there. So the child was taken into the operation theater, and the parents sat out reading from their holy books, praying, when all of a sudden the power went off. And the gensets that were supposed to trigger in some 3 to 5 seconds did it in 15. The child died. What happened to the doctor? He lost his reputation. Now, you have to be, can you now see safety? Can you see process? Can you see it all coming together? So this carpenter story, basic small things that can be done. All he needed was to make the mudguard and the bumpers stronger. Now here your practices for maintenance would have to be very, very supreme. Look at you get infection from the ducting in the OT, right? You get infection from the ducting. What's the maintenance doing? Patients are in an OT and getting infected. So there is lessons to be learned, but the main thing I'm saying is leadership should meet customers. They're looking for safety. They're looking for reliability. What our process is our maintenance process that needs correction. Okay.
Sir, since we are reaching the 11 o'clock mark, I'll not be able to take further questions. Uh, Dear friends and colleagues in education and from the other domains, today we have understood about the role of leadership and the importance of listening to the voice of customers. This reminds me of my Manipal leadership and especially MIT. One of our former directors introduced Walk with the Director, Know Your Campus, an innovative program launched to bring barriers between the institute and the students. The leadership of institute believes that academics must be open, transparent, and fun. He wanted to he wanted to bring in that cohesion between the leadership and the students. He wanted to break the myth that directors are not approachable. Usually most of the students and parents never meet the director during engineering education days, so he wanted to be more approachable. So the program acted as an ice-breaking session for the freshers to build a good connect with the fellow students and the institute leadership. MIT Manipal also had another program called Tea with the Director. It is an informal meet with student achievers of Manipal who bring laurels to the institute and university. So this TV director was a platform for listening to the voice of the student who excel in all the fields, not only in academics. So these are some of the Manipal lessons I thought I would share with. Institutes can come up with similar innovative ideas to be more approachable and so that the voice of the customers can be heard. But the success of all such programs depend on, once again, on the top leadership. Dear friends, we hope that I hope that we have been able to get the necessary lessons, understand the various quality concepts from Lulla sir. I once again apologize for not taking all of your questions because we have a limited time allotted to us. We'll be taking more questions in our next session that will be on November 1st. I once again thank Lulla sir, team Qimpro for hosting the event, and Dr. Sandeep Shanoy, Head Department of Commerce, for supporting this event and being with us throughout. Thank you, Lulla sir. Thank you, Sandeep sir. Thank you, audience. You are all great. Thank you so much.